Cordell. First of all, thanks for joining us.
For sure.
Cordell Woodland, our Orioles, Ravens, Terps reporter, and, of course, host of Fresh Take Sports with Ben Hall. Combine going on as we speak. A lot of the prospects meeting with the media, some guys that could be linked to the Ravens at number 14. But Jesse Minter, head coach, and DeCosta, Eric, the GM, met with the media yesterday. We'll start with Lamar Jackson's contract situation and the dialogue that's been going on. Now, DeCosta, he was very open in his dialogue with Linderbaum and his contract situation. Market-setting offer, which he has yet to sign, by the way, which we'll get to. But Lamar, close to the vest. Minter did say Lamar apparently was in the building a couple of weeks ago. So he talked to him then. $74.5 million, right? Cap hit going into 2026. 3 years ago, it got to the point where Lamar literally wanted a trade. And the Ravens let him hit free agency. They didn't even tag him with the exclusive rights tag. Go hit the open market. And Arthur Blank infamously said, well, why would you give that kind of money to a guy that gets hurt all the time?
Who's their quarterback?
Yeah, exactly. And how many coaches have they had since then? By the way, I don't think Cordell will get that acrimonious, but it's still kind of slow play, and free agency starts in a couple of weeks here with the legal tampering and then the actual date, March 11th. So what's the end game going to be with Lamar Jackson in regards to getting him redone, extended, whatever it is, where they can free up a lot of dough like Patrick Mahomes did with Kansas City last week?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, and like you said, DeCosta kept it kind of close to the vest, which he always does when it comes to Lamar, anything regarding Lamar. But definitely now when you're talking about a contract extension, the little he did say, honestly, I kind of gained a little optimism from it. He talked about how they have had conversations recently. Now, of course, some of those conversations probably had to do with the coaching search, filling the OC and hiring Minter. But I'm sure the contract stuff came up. He said that Lamar has been responsive, which we know was an issue the first time. So I just, some of the little nuggets that he gave me optimism that they are trending in the right direction. I still think it gets done. I just don't know when it gets done. I still firmly believe Lamar wants to be in Baltimore. He wants to be a Raven. Obviously, the Ravens want to keep him here as well. I think it would be imperative for them to get it done before the start of free agency, especially when you talk about Linderbaum's status and what they can do with him. But I don't know if it'll be on their time. Things seem to happen on Lamar's time. But I do think the end result will be him signing an extension with the Ravens.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, Bob? Like you said, March 11th, 2 weeks from today. But really, it's March 9th. It's really March 9th is when
the legal tampering is say.
But the thing about it is, Cordell, the other thing the little nugget that that Eric gave when we were sitting there listening to Declan Doyle say that he expects everybody to be there April 6th. Then, then Eric went into his dissertation about two-time MVP. He knows how to train, blah, blah. He ain't coming.
I mean, I don't know if it necessarily means he's not coming, but the
whole time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, that's how he's operating.
Right.
That's how he's
nothing's
operating.
changed. Yeah, it's kind of like nothing changes.
It could be that way. I do think there is a more increased chance that he's there the whole time, considering how much new is going. I mean, it's a totally, forget new scheme. It's a new organization. It's a
new terminology.
Everything is new. The lay of the land is new. The vibe of the building is going to be new. So I do think he wants to get in and be a part of that. To be honest, I thought Eric DeCosta saying that was really him trying to put out a little bit of the fire that came from Declan Doyle saying that. I think that's Eric DeCosta giving the other side of the coin of, hey, this is a 2-time, probably should be 3-time MVP. This is a guy that understands we go as far as he goes. This is a guy that, when healthy, is a 1%er in the NFL. So I think he was really just trying to take some of that heat off Lamar, while also giving facts of what Lamar has done despite not being a full participant in OTAs in the past. But like I said, I do acknowledge this is a different year.
Now, we had a couple conversations yesterday, two really. One about, like a lot of these mock drafts got him taking receiver, which, my opinion is, can he protect the quarterback? And then number two, we were talking about really, if you look at Mark Andrews, the decline, he had 14 games, Cordell, where he didn't have a touchdown catch. He averaged 8.8 yards per catch. His longest catch of the season was 27 yards. So, and they paid him $13 million. So what? Because we even had a caller say, well, are they going to trade him? No, they're not trading him. Otherwise,
that ship is sailed.
Right.
Well, even DeCosta said that they had approached likely his representatives about a deal, which obviously didn't come to fruition. And we brought up the numbers from 2024. They combined for 100 catches, basically 1,200 yards and 19 touchdowns last year. No. I mean,
like 6 touchdowns
and like 700 yards.
And obviously, likely getting hurt in camp impacted that in a big way. I just don't think the 2 tight end thing with Mark and Likely ever really reached its full potential. It never looked the way that everybody hoped it would, even at its best.
When it was at its best was when Mark got hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
When Mark is hurt and Likely's able to take over. Even to Mark's credit, last year, Mark led all tight ends in touchdown catches in 2024. So it just seems like you can't get the most out of both of them. Now, I definitely agree. It seems like that extension isn't aging well. And then I look into Chicago's situation because they use a first-rounder on a tight end. They had Cole Kmet, who at the start of the year, Cole Kmet was still their feature tight end. I think it wasn't until that Bengals game that Loveland really started to become a thing in that comeback against Cincinnati. But so I do wonder, and Loveland's the more athletic guy. He's Cole Kmet has some athleticism too, but he wasn't the fresh one.
Loveland can't block. Like I said, he blocks like me and Bob.
Yeah, he's purely a pass catcher. Yes. I think Likely's gone.
A little younger too.
Without a doubt. Yeah. The Mark Andrews thing, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to age well.
What do you think about the O-line, Cordell? Because Eric said, we got 2 good tackles, and if we re-sign Linderbaum, they got young guys they like with Emory Jones and stuff. You're counting on a lot of dudes, that...
He did say that the guard situation was a little shaky.
Which we all know.
He admitted that. Couldn't lie to us about that one.
And I do think they are banking on their coaching staff helping them out maybe a little more with development this time around than this past year. That was a huge problem for them. That's why I think it's so important for them to bring Linderbaum back. When you're coming off the year that you're coming off of, you're trying to convince your quarterback to sign an extension. To have to basically redo the entire interior of your offensive line in what's supposed to be a year where you get back to being the Ravens, whatever that looks like. And in my mind, that means at least getting back to the second round. I don't see how you're going to do that if you're already complaining that you don't have the most money, because everybody likes to talk about Chicago rebuilding their offensive line this past offseason. Chicago blew plenty of money on their O-line. I don't know if the Ravens have that at their disposal to do it in the same way. So, offensive line has to be at the forefront of the offseason, but I'm also not sitting here saying go draft an O-lineman at 14 no matter what. I still think 14, you should be able to get a pretty good player that can impact you.
It's got to be a trenches guy.
I wouldn't hate it in the trenches. They have to rebuild both trenches right now, so they should be able to find somebody, if not on the O-line at 14, somebody on the D-line to help this pass rush would be huge.
It's Vinny Haynie, 105.7 The Fan, Woman Crush Wednesday. Cordell, you want to stick around for a phone call?
Sure.
Let's get out to the phone. Sports at 583-1057 is the number. It's Woman Crush Wednesday. Pick a song, we'll play it. We'll talk to Nolan McGraw coming up in a few minutes. Let's go to Mike in Bel Air. Mike, what's up?
Good morning. Well, good afternoon in 15 minutes. Vinny, I'm calling and ask your opinion. Our biggest investment will be Lamar. Right. And you're hearing all the draft pundits mocking us a wide receiver. I don't like that. No. I just wanted your opinion about the kid from Penn State. I really like him in comparison to the kid from Miami. I think the kid from Penn State is more agile. He can get to the second and third layer than the kid from Miami. And I just like him.
You talking about the guard? You talking about Ione?
Yes. And if not him, if Bain drops or one of them defensive end drops, I'll go after him. And if you see the guard from Penn State, Ione,
right,
and you can slide down and still get this cat, and you can get a compensatory in the second round and go get a wide receiver or something like that, I'll deal with that. But to not protect Lamar, everybody talks about, well, he wasn't Lamar. Lamar was hurt all year. He was hurt all year. And the sad thing, people are not paying attention. Seattle put pressure on the quarterback. Philly, they put pressure on the quarterback. You have to pressure these guys. And it starts with defensive line and your offensive line. Your big uglies win up front. And I'm calling to ask your opinion because I value your opinion very much.
All right, thank you, Mike. I think we all know that the Ravens were lacking in pass rush and on the offensive line. I mean, that's been well documented. And what about signing Odafe Owe, Khalil Mack in free agency, depending on what the draft need? If they draft a wide receiver, that's what the assumption that Zay Flowers moves to the slot full time. And then you got a big guy running down.
What does that mean? They're playing 3 wide receivers the whole time? Chicago played a lot of 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
And they had...
What do you do with Bateman?
Yeah, I mean, they had Moore, who was great, and then they drafted a kid, and then they had
Odunze.
Yeah, so they had 3, and the rookie was the one that kind of came on.
Luther
for them.
Burden.
Yeah, Luther Bradley Jr. Or the third.
Luther Burden, Yeah. No, they had a stable of guys, and they have a bunch of people they could get the ball to, and that's not even including their running backs who really led the charge for I always go back to that game against the Eagles for the Bears this year, where both running backs had over 100 yards in that game. Like, that's, to me, how the Bears offense won games. They were balanced, and they went with whatever was working. If the run game was working, they stuck with that. If they were able to throw the ball all over the field, they'll let Caleb throw for 350 yards. So I think that has been a bugaboo for the Ravens, going away from what's working, going away from your strengths. It seems to be at least Declan Doyle. Hopefully, obviously he didn't call plays in Chicago, but hopefully that's something that he does bring with him to Baltimore.
All right, Cordell, what's the next Fresh Take Sports coming up here on 105.7 The Fan?
What's today? Today's Wednesday, so we're back tomorrow night. Tomorrow night after Ryan's Hot Stove League, we'll be on from 7 to 9, so we'll be talking a lot about what's going on at the Combine. I believe the workouts start tomorrow, so we'll be able to get into that. Obviously, spring training and the Grapefruit League has been ongoing, so we'll keep up with some of the scuttlebutt from Sarasota as well.